Hey, my friend, I know you are doing well. Hey, let's dive in. We'll talk about the assumption gap in business. Listen, most business people, I mean, if it's not all, most business people assume that when they get into business, the business is going to naturally grow, right? We are talking about the grow gap. They assume that, if you don't put certain strategy in place, it's going to just happen. If you don't put policy in place, it may just happen, right? That's the assumption gap. They just assume that something is going to happen. Let's say, let's talk about the level of behavior in business. Maybe the way people are behaving, the way they are developing their product, and all that. They just assume that, at certain time this is going to work, or maybe even the policy and procedure that they need to put in place. They just assume that, what, I'm facing some challenge. Sometimes if you don't do anything about it, at the point, this thing's going to fall in place. Listen, whatever business you are doing, whatever product you are developing, you have to remove all assumption. Nothing move until somebody move it. Nothing move to the right direction until a leader, who you are, or the team that you actually work with, actually move that thing to where it's supposed to go. So from today, I want you to think about some of the stuff that you assume, even with your product or service as a business person. Like, you know what? I assume, I just want this thing to work this way. And I assume that by this time, this is going to happen, right? And maybe, I'll just start, and maybe at a certain point, things are going to fall in place. Business is not like that. Nothing in business grow organically. No. You have to be intentional. You need to design. You need to get up and make it happen. You need to know that whatever you have moving from point A to point B, it's going to stay on point A. As a business person, you must set it that forever. Whatever is not done is never going to be done. Period. So the assumption, even with people, sometimes we work with people and we assume that they will get better down the road without training, without proper training. Like, okay, he's not doing well now, but probably about next year he's going to do very good. No, it doesn't work that way. You must be so intentional. And the assumption, you must close that gap. There's no way you can assume. There's no room for assumption in business. Everything must be intentional. Everything must be designed. That's why we stay so long in business plan. And if you don't have a clear business plan that is giving you every single step of the map, you are working with this assumption gap. Oh, maybe the economy is going to get better, and when it gets better, the business gets better. Yeah, you fall into the assumption gap. What could you do to anticipate some of the stuff? Remember, you have to make a move. Whatever you have a move from point A to point B, it's not going to be done. So you must be very, very clear with that. So in your business or with your product, what are some of the assumptions that you actually operate with it? You just assume that, hey, this is going to happen. And you just assume that, hey, I know it's going to happen with time. And so many people say things like this. Oh, with time, this will change. With time, we will dominate the market. With time, our competitor may give up. With time. No. What are you doing to take advantage of the market? So ask yourself that question. And I want you to take time and answer all this. What are some of the stuff that you assume that it was going to happen? And now you are shocked because it's not happening. You just assume. We must remove all that and get down to the reality. So we shut down the gap of assumption. No more assumption. We need to move on with more intentionality. All right. So tomorrow we'll talk about another gap so heavy. We'll shut that other one. We shut the 8 major gap that puts so many people out of business. And then you'll be a lot more, you move a lot more with the right intention. Know exactly what you want. Every day when you come to the office, you know exactly what you want to demand from that day. Without assuming that, oh, I'm going to the office to work. No. What are you going to the office to do? That means you remove the assumption. What I'm going to the market to do, you remove the assumption. What am I going to this show to do, you remove the assumption. What am I going to the seminar to do, you remove the assumption. You must be so clear with that. All right, so I'll see you tomorrow.